Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather parts of the US and Canada, especially the US. So let's see first the severe weather. We have there the slight risk, and they also have some associated discussions, alright, for some storms that have already started. And yeah, so let's see. There's the thunderstorm outlook with very high portions of New Mexico and Texas, and this doesn't show up here. So let's see, there's the slight risk, parts of southeastern New Mexico, Texas, and central southern Oklahoma too, for 2 days, Saturday. So the tornado threat is 5%, parts of southeastern New Mexico and Texas, and 2% all the way into central Oklahoma. The wind threat is 15 and 5%, and the hail is like 5% and 15%, and hatched parts of southeastern Texas and New Mexico for some potential 2-inch plus hail. So be careful. Scare strong to severe storms if possible this afternoon and tonight, primarily from the Permian Basin, South Plains into Oklahoma. So be careful there. And let's see, there's the her here. So there already shows that line of storms there. So let's maybe see the radar first. So there's already the line of storms, shows a bunch of thunderstorms in Oklahoma, Texas already, and those areas show. So those storms keep going there across northern Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, and it shows the line of storms getting like very strong. Maybe as some strong winds within that line, and even some hail. But the actual like a real tornado threat will come later this afternoon when these pop-up storms start appearing. So you see there's southern Texas, actually not southern Texas, but like western Texas and New Mexico. Those small storms start appearing there, and those look more supercell shape. So those pop-up storms there could have the bigger tornado potential today. Then it shows continuing into the evening there. More areas of southwestern Texas, those pop-up storms, and it shows like some very big ones western Texas later this evening. So be careful. This is tomorrow for northern Texas and Oklahoma. Actually, this is like tonight, in the middle of the night, shows some really intense signatures within that line going for Oklahoma and Texas. This could have some big damaging winds within that line, and more hail and stuff. This is tomorrow, Sunday, shows another line developing Texas there, and going into Oklahoma with more hail and tornado potential, especially wind. But be careful this afternoon and evening with those pop-up storms there, western Texas and New Mexico. So let's like show where everything is. This is the line of storms there, and here in southeastern Texas, just some regular thunderstorms, but always be aware. But these storms right here will be the most severe ones, those pop-up storms in southeastern New Mexico and Texas. So really be careful there, and have some ways to receive alerts. And even northern Mexico shows a thing or two, and later across like southern Texas. So really be careful those areas. And now the Cape does show more Cape too, especially like later parts of New Mexico and southern Texas, and it does show more Cape through western Texas too, but nothing that crazy. Shows like some those reds or something, 2,000 to 2,500 joules per kilogram of Cape around where the storms will be, but you see there's that hole in the Cape. That might be because the storms will start initiating there and eating it up. But there'll be a lot of instability. And just like in case of tomorrow, that new line forming any through the cape there, but that also shows more stability tomorrow, so be careful. And this is the max wind gusts from the HER. So here you can really see the storms, I think, because you see those dots appearing parts of New Mexico and Texas, those small dots, those might be the individual supercells. And does show, I think this is in kilometers per hour, but I'll see if I can find another graph. But it does show there, like, especially this evening with those supercells, some high winds parts of southeastern New Mexico and western Texas there. So be careful. Some of those storms could have like close to 100 kilometer per gust inside them, and miles per hour, like some 50 to almost 67 mile per gusts, especially in the most severe storms. So let's see. So tomorrow Sunday we have the other line of storms there, and it shows some bigger gusts through Oklahoma there. And so yeah, be aware through Texas, but especially in Oklahoma, close to 60 70 mile per gusts. So be aware. But those pop-up storms this afternoon, this evening there, might have some damaging gusts too. And that's just max wind gusts. That's the maximum wind gusts. The general wind gusts shows those storms are appearing there this afternoon, and it goes there. And tomorrow the other line through Texas and Oklahoma. So be careful in those areas. So yeah, let's see. There's the her here as well. Shows the Cape too. Shows like this November 2nd shows more Cape southern Texas, but also shows some western Texas and some areas there. So just like I showed you before. And here's the significant tornado parameter. So now it already shows a parameter or two there around southern Texas. And later does show a little bit more some parts of northern Mexico, southern Texas, and New Mexico, but really like this is Tuesday, Sunday, like late this evening, right? It shows those higher parameters like way southern Texas, but it isn't showing some big parameters like southeastern New Mexico, like it showed where the strongest storms would form, but showing some big parameters more southern Texas and central Texas. But be aware in those areas. And but I would be careful, like more a lot where the HER showed those supercells like southeastern New Mexico and especially western Texas. So let's see here. Later shows tonight and tomorrow a little bit less because of it'll be night, and shows like yeah. So be aware. Now the updraft helicity, like the probability of rotating updrafts, indicates hail and severe wind. So let's see the full run here. If it so it does show there those tracks of the more severe storms, especially like southeastern New Mexico, shows those ones in western Texas there going all the way to northern Texas and Oklahoma. So really be careful in those areas, especially with like hail, wind, and tornadoes, of course. So, and you know, I showed you those winds like before there, those max wind gusts. I said like 60 to 70 mile per hour, but never underestimate storms. If there's a really severe one, the wind could be way higher than that, like some 80 to even 90 mile per hour gusts within that storm. So be careful, you never know. So let's see that there's also like these other types of cape, the most unstable cape. And so let's see, this is like tomorrow, all right? Let's see, like late this evening, the show here more across southern Texas, especially like right near the Mexico border, but there's some more like western Texas as well, and those areas. So a little bit earlier, like 0Z shows a lot like southern Texas, but there shows some are Cape in New Mexico, some spots close to 2,000 joules per kilogram. So be aware. And let's see here. So be aware, the storm relative helicity does show across western Texas there in eastern New Mexico, some higher values. So be careful. Let's see here now. The excess rainfall is a slight risk too for today for some flash flooding potential from like easternmost New Mexico to Kansas and a marginal from New Mexico to Iowa. So be careful there. And let's see the severe weather for Sunday. Still a slight risk from Oklahoma, Texas, and a bigger marginal in like Texas, western Louisiana, parts of Arkansas, and Missouri, and also Kansas and Nebraska. So the wind threat 15 and 5% tomorrow, especially the slight risk, and hail 15 and 5% as well. Tornadoes is a bigger 5% and 2% for tornadoes, so be careful in those areas. And here, so scarce severe thunderstorms are possible multiple rounds from midday Sunday through Sunday night. Most likely affected area includes parts of Oklahoma into northwest central Texas. Tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail may occur, so be careful there. And just to show you some other opinions on the severe weather, this for today, for Saturday, there's the storm prediction center with the 5 and 2%, but the Colorado State University has even a bigger area 5% there. So yeah, it also has a more severe hail threat, but they also have the hatch there, but it has even further north. And the wind threat is similar, they have even a little bit less. So this is today. Tomorrow, the storm prediction center has a 2 and 5%, and they have even a 5% a little bit further north into Kansas and Missouri to the Colorado State University. And the wind and hail threat are pretty similar. Day 3 through 8, yeah, nothing that crazy. Just day 3, I'll talk about in a second. But there's also NATOcast that they make some tornado probabilities too. So the latest forecast for today just also shows a 10% even parts of Oklahoma and western Texas there. So usually the probabilities are a little bit higher than the storm prediction center, but it's interesting to know as well. So be aware in those areas, and that line of storms later this evening could also have a tornado threat as well in all of those areas. And there was a forecast from earlier today that showed all the way to 15% tornado threat in those areas from the NATOcast, but the latest update just says of 10%. And this is tomorrow here. They also they already have a 15% and even hatch there, and a 10% and a 5%. So they have some really big tornado probabilities tomorrow. But the Storm Prediction Center just the 5%. So let's focus on that. And then day 3, still a slight risk, parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, Missouri, and a marginal from parts of Texas to Illinois. So 5%, 15% probabilistic. Scarce severe thunderstorms are possible Monday into Monday night from parts of northeastern Texas into Missouri. Tornadoes and damaging winds should be the main hazards. So be careful Monday there. We really be careful. Let's just sorry about that. So let's just see another model here. They might be interesting. So there's the name too, shows those storms today there and those supercells later. It shows the line of storms tomorrow through Oklahoma, Texas. Could have some damaging winds and tornadoes and hail especially. And then like Monday shows another line of storms firing there more rounds, more rounds of storms through Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, even shows some in Kansas in some areas, and yeah. So and even Tuesday still showing some lines of storms there, so be careful those areas. And now the excessive rainfall shows tomorrow there's a moderate parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. So be careful. Some higher flash flooding potential for tomorrow, Sunday. So be careful there with flash flooding and heavy rain. And there's an increasing risk of flash flooding across Central Plains this week, and the front moving through the region, multi-day heavy rain threat. Storms on Saturday expect to drop multiple inches and set the stage for environment conducive for flooding. Sunday, we'll get to see another round of heavy rain from storms along the cold front. Areas of might see train thunderstorms, largest overlap of heavy rain. Over the weekend, we have the biggest flood threat. So yeah, be careful there. Day 3 for Monday, still a big slight risk from Texas to southern Wisconsin, and a marginal from Texas to Michigan. Be careful. And day 4 still a marginal from Texas to Indiana. And day 5 a marginal in Florida. So yeah, be aware those areas. And precipitation does show for this is Sunday tomorrow. I'm not sure why they don't show Saturday here. I think it's because of the time, but for Sunday tomorrow they do have close to 5 inches in Oklahoma, 3 to 4 inches, and even 5 inches, and a lot across Kansas, southern Kansas, and Iowa as well. So be aware in Iowa, and but especially in Texas and Oklahoma, that flooding threat. Day 2 for there'll be like day 3 for Monday, shows more parts of Oklahoma close to 3 inches again, even 4 inches, a spot or two of eastern Oklahoma, and shows more across Missouri, some 1 to 2 inches and a half, and more across Kansas, close to 4 inches. So be careful. Northern Texas still a little bit more, and all the way into northern Michigan there, more rain. Some in the northwest too for Monday. Now day 4 shows more on Tuesday, parts of Arkansas, Missouri still, and Illinois along that cold front there, extending all the way into Canada, and shows still some precipitation in the northwest. Day 5 for Wednesday shows more across Florida, and some like Kentucky, Tennessee, some rain there, and the Rockies shows more across the east and some areas, especially central southern areas. Day 6 for Thursday shows more across Florida, Georgia, and some other areas there, and more in Colorado, Texas, and some light rain in Oklahoma and Kansas. Day 7 for next Friday shows more across Texas and Oklahoma, some 2 inches or something, and more across the plains there, and still in Florida. And day 8 for next Saturday shows more across the plains and the Midwest and some areas there. So be aware. Day 1 through 2 does show like Sunday to Tuesday, shows all the way to 7 inches in a spot or two of Oklahoma. So really be careful with flooding there. Day 1 through 3 shows even more, spreading further north there. Day 1 through 5 shows those a lot of areas of 7 inches or more, parts of Oklahoma, and the day 1 through 7 finally shows a lot there in all those areas. You can see where the main action is. So really be careful with flooding those areas. Shows more across Florida, eastern Florida, and the Keys, and some in the northwest there. So be careful. Snowfall probabilities in the northwest today, and finally it shows Saturday here, not Sunday. So shows in Oregon, Washington, some probabilities in parts of Idaho, and western Wyoming, and some areas there. For Sunday, more across the Rockies in Colorado, beware there. Even Arizona, a snow or two, and more across the northwest. Day 3 for Monday really shows this ramping up in Washington and Idaho there, and western Montana. So be aware in those areas. Day 4, some scattered across the Rockies. Day 5, more southern Rockies for Wednesday. Day 6, still Southern Rockies for Thursday, and day 7, some next Friday still. So be aware those areas. And they still have uh, some winter storm severity index for like the Rockies in Colorado, some in Utah in the higher peaks there, some moderate to major, those high elevations of central eastern Arizona. Be careful there. White Mountains shows more there in Washington and Oregon, especially Washington, the high elevations. So be aware. And yeah, let's see. Uh, day 3 through 7, uh, hazards does show that severe weather there. The heavy rain because that cold front, possible flooding, and the heavy snow there, Washington, those areas. Does show those high winds across Alaska, so be aware there, and some heavy precipitation too, so be aware in those areas. And the day 8 through 14 does show uh, still some heavy snow across Washington, some high winds there, and le- let's see maybe some heavy precipitation and stuff. So be aware across southern Alaska, the whole area there's some high winds. So be aware. And now the temperatures. I'll just show day 1 through 3. If not, this video was so long. So does show the maximum temperatures for Saturday today. Those colder temperatures across the Rockies, especially in Idaho, parts of Wyoming and some areas. Shows also in the south those warmer temperatures, some is, and in southern Texas too, especially. So be aware. Day 1 minimum temperatures from like Saturday night until Sunday does show those colder temperatures in the northeast and the northwest. Does show some 20s and 30s Fahrenheit across the northeast, especially Maine, northern New York, very cold, and New Hampshire and Vermont, and those 30s spreading all the way to West Virginia, northeastern Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So be aware. Northern Michigan, some 30s too, and across the northwest, very cold. Those 30s, 20s, especially the lower 20s and teens there in the higher peaks of Idaho might get those like 15, 12, or even less Fahrenheit. So be aware. Day 2 does show like the maximum temperatures for Sunday. Shows those 8 is in the south still, some 4 is in the northeast, and very cold in the higher elevations, even during the day. And outside the high elevations, some 4 is in low 50s. So be aware. And the southwest still kind of hotish. Day 2 minimum temperatures does show, let's see, this is from Sunday to Monday, especially Monday morning, does show those 20s and 30s in the northeast still, especially in Maine, so chilly morning there, but very cold there across parts of the northwest. So especially in Wyoming and some areas there of Idaho and southern Montana. So let's see a little bit closer look here. So here, let's see. So does show some 10 Fahrenheit, 13 Fahrenheit, 11 Fahrenheit, especially Wyoming, and some areas could get all the way to 5 Fahrenheit, those darker purples, some 7 Fahrenheit parts of Idaho. So be aware there during the night and early morning. Stay warm. Let's see. Day 3 max. This will be for Monday afternoon. Let's see here. Here, so the show still cold in the mountains during the morning, during the afternoon as well, because these are the maximum temperatures. So still shows some very cold maximum temperatures there, and some hot temperatures across the south there. Some 70s all the way into the Midwest, some 50s in the Northeast, but could get all the way to 90 degrees southern Texas for Monday. So be aware there Monday. Now let's just show Monday night to Tuesday, and so this will like be Tuesday morning at 4 or 5 a.m. Shows very cold in the Rockies of Colorado, those teens and 20s, and the cold even starts spreading to the plains there. So like 3 is part of the plains, and 4 is, so be aware in the north there too. Some 3 is in the northeast still. So be aware the 48-hour snowfall for like, yeah, these areas. I showed you the probabilities before, but this is the actual snowfall accumulation. So it does show some more snow for like northern California, especially like Oregon in the Cascades, more there, more across Colorado in the next 48 hours, more across Arizona there, New Mexico, some in Utah, more throughout Wyoming, especially Idaho, parts of Montana. So be aware of the snow. And so let's see, the 24-hour max wind gust is just wind gust by itself. It doesn't take into account the storms like I showed you before. So it does show some higher winds in the mountains of Southern California, close to 50-mile-per-hour gusts, and Northern California too. There's a specific mountain there showing those brownish colors, could be close to 70-mile-per-hour gusts occasionally, and shows more across the Rockies and New Mexico and some more areas, especially Montana. So be aware in those areas. The hazards, there's those flood watches and flash flood warnings already. The winter weather advisories for Utah, Wyoming, parts of Washington, Oregon, parts of the Sierra Nevada, and Idaho and Montana, some high wind watches, northern Montana, and some wind advisories and high wind warnings in a specific area of Southern California, some wind advisories there in Nevada, Arizona, California. So beware, winter weather advisories sent to Alaska, and heavy freezing spray in the northern coast, small craft in Hawaii, some high surf advisories, and so be aware. But this changes all the time, so the link is in the description if you want to always check the warnings. There's in Canada some freezing drizzle advisories in parts of Alberta still, like northern Alberta and northwestern territories, also freezing drizzle, and northern Saskatchewan also freezing drizzle. So if you click here on freezing drizzle advisory, it does show areas of freezing drizzle expected or occurring. Patchy freezing drizzle continues, expected to improve by this evening. So be aware, if you click on like Saskatchewan on freezing drizzle, you can see conditions improved by this evening. Surfaces such as highway roads and walkways and parking lots may become icy or slippery, so be aware. And Yukon does show blizzard warning Dempster still, so be aware. And accumulating snow and some very strong winds. And in Alberta, northwestern territories, that area of freezing drizzle there expected to improve by this evening, so be aware. And there's like the highway weather too. There's a winter storm warning, snowfall warning in a highway of British Columbia down there. So it does show here snowfall. Snowfall to amounts 15 to 25 centimeters expected. Highway 3 to Paulson Summit to Cautel Pass. So this is just today. So be aware. You can read more here for more information. And let's see. Like snowfall maybe. So I'll put this until Monday. Does show the snowfall in the Rockies, in the Cascades, like I showed you. But now in Canada, it does show more snow in British Columbia, so like some 69 centimeters, 32 centimeters, and some in southern British Columbia, but not much. Shows more in Saskatchewan, parts of Manitoba and Alberta, especially northwestern territories, some snow drizzles, and some light showers in Quebec of snow, and a little bit heavier in northern Quebec there. So be aware. Shows more across Newfoundland, northeastern Nova Scotia, and yeah. And if I put this until next Thursday, there are increases very much. Southern Alaska and some parts of western British Columbia shows more than 128 centimeters, so might be heavier later this week. Parts of western British Columbia shows more there for southern British Columbia, some snow showers in Alberta later this week, and in the mountains of Alaska it's showing some very crazy amounts, like close to some 68 inches of snow, more than 76 inches. So be careful, southern Alaska, some of the Aleutian Islands, more the north there, and the southernmost Alaska, some 47 inches and more there. This is the European model. The show until next Thursday, some 26 inches in parts of Colorado, some more New Mexico and Arizona, Utah, especially like in Idaho, Washington, some more. And the GFS has something similar. The GFS is all the way into Nebraska there, has more in Colorado, northern Washington, Wyoming, and has a lot western British Columbia too, and like here, so 97 centimeters and more across there. Especially, it has a patch of snow throughout eastern Ontario to Quebec and Labrador, but the European doesn't have that in Ontario. Just have a slight snow shower too, and the icon has more similar to the European, more snow northern Quebec and Labrador and those areas. So be aware, the wind gusts from the European, there are those higher ones today with the storms I showed you in the US, but later does show those wind gusts picking up like New Mexico, close to 55-mile-per-hour gusts late tomorrow Sunday, somewhere across Texas, and it's just the wind by itself. Of course, those lines, those storms, will have way stronger winds than this inside of the line of storms. So be aware, northern Mexico, some stronger winds too. We might make a video specifically for Mexico later today or tomorrow, but be aware there too. Shows some above normal winds parts of Nevada, Utah, a little bit gusty sometimes. Sunday, as shows Monday, some more winds across like Texas, New Mexico, even Louisiana, Eastern Texas, a little bit gustier by the European model. There'll be that system in the northwest there, shows it coming to northern Washington, close to 64 to 63 mile per hour gusts in parts of northern Washington. So be aware, Monday into Tuesday shows more early on Tuesday across Washington. Those are strong winds in Montana too, like some more than 50 mile per hour gusts in Montana throughout Tuesday, and still some gusty winds there. Wyoming late Tuesday, especially Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night. So be aware there. And when that system comes into like here the northwest, it does show some areas in British Columbia, some very high gusts from this late Monday, starting Monday at noon already, or even the morning, more than 70 km per gusts, some others some 80 km per gust, and it really shows like some areas there close to 118 km per gusts, and more areas there. So be aware throughout western British Columbia and Alberta especially shows more than 8 km per gust parts of southern Alberta, especially along the mountains, close to 90 km per gusts on Tuesday. So be aware. And then later does show that bigger system to like Yukon, southern Alaska, and British Columbia, which it has some pockets of very strong winds across Yukon, close to 100 km per hour gusts, some other parts of northern British Columbia, and the coast of southern Alaska there. So this is Tuesday into Wednesday, shows more Wednesday across some mountains of northern British Columbia, across Yukon, southern Alaska, some high winds. So be aware, and does show still in southern Alaska, some more high winds there. Wednesday and later we'll have more systems there, so we'll talk about that in some few future videos. But just to mention something important, it does show like late Wednesday to Thursday another system to British Columbia, southern Alaska with some higher winds too, and the European model specifically highlighting some areas of eastern British Columbia next Thursday morning, some very high winds there into Alberta, Saskatchewan, and it has this system continuing there later into next week. And just to mention this, it does show next Saturday the 9th, a big system throughout Ontario and Quebec, some high winds there, into the northeastern US and parts of Atlantic Canada as well. Some very high winds next Saturday the 9th. This is just one run from the European. This forecast will change, but the GFS does show some winds too, but way less than the European, and the icon barely shows anything. So be aware, but this forecast will still change. And let's just maybe see some rain accumulation. does show until next Thursday that heavy rain on the Pacific, but does show some rain in Ontario and Quebec as well, especially southern Ontario, because that branch of the cold front from the US. So show like 66 millimeters, 70 millimeters. So be aware. West parts of Newfoundland, especially western Newfoundland, and across British Columbia, some really insane amounts, 200 millimeters. Southern Alaska a lot too, but there'll be like a lot of snow in the mix as well because the mountains there. So be aware of those areas. And just for context, so there's that snow and freezing drizzle today, some showers in Quebec, and the snow continues in parts of Alaska, shows more snow in other areas like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Northwestern Territory, especially some freezing rain Monday the 4th, parts of Manitoba, the European shows that the GFS also tried to show that. And then like Sunday to Monday shows more snow, especially starting Monday in British Columbia, Washington there, and those areas. And does spread the snow all the way into Idaho and Montana on Tuesday. And does have the bigger system for Alaska there, Yukon, parts of northern British Columbia, where we might have that heavier snow later next week. And then shows some pockets of freezing rain next Wednesday too. So be aware, does show more freezing rain next Wednesday, and does show this system in Ontario and Quebec next Tuesday, more rain and more snow, Quebec and Labrador behind it, potentially northern Ontario too. So be aware, and we'll keep monitoring this for next week. And the temperature is still very cold. It's just like minus 19 some areas of Nunavut, some other areas there, very cold. This is Saturday, and then shows those temperatures, cold temperatures all the way to southern Quebec, and Ontario, not much southern Ontario, might be above negative temperatures, but does show some negative temperatures central to northern Ontario, even some spots of southern Ontario, Newfoundland and Labrador, and yeah. So be aware, Sunday this kind of fluctuates, might be like a little bit less cold central Canada between Monday and Tuesday, but they show this colder temperatures on Tuesday morning across Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, very cold in Yukon and some areas there. Labrador too, Newfoundland shows some active temperatures, northernmost Nova Scotia, and yeah, be aware. And does show that front next Wednesday a little bit warmer in Ontario in the afternoon, but then this front comes and shows some more spots of negative temperatures later, like next Thursday morning. Very cold in the night, so be aware. And in Alaska, it's very cold too. So like some areas of -6 Fahrenheit, some 18, 20 Fahrenheit. So very cold there. In the island, just like some far is Fahrenheit because there's the ocean, but there's so very cold. There's some parts of north and central Alaska. Many areas a little bit less cold in southeastern Alaska, but there'll be some colder days there as well. So be our 26, 21 Fahrenheit. Yeah, this mainly it. So stay safe